It's hard to say this because a lot of people in New South Wales want to live there, but they can't afford here. But really, it's regional New South Wales outside of the Sydney Basin. So for those that don't know where the Sydney Basin is, it's basically done by the Great Dividing Range, basically sort of say caps it. So it's really basically Shell Harbour to Newcastle. So you got Shell Harbour, Wollongong, the Central Coast, Lake Macquarie and Newcastle. They're fine. Nothing wrong with buying in them. But everywhere else, so your Narooma, your Merimbula, your Nowras, your Jervis Bay, Coffs Harbour, Port Macquarie, your Lismore, Ballina, Grafton, Yamba, don't even touch them. They're terrible areas to buy, and these are a couple of the reasons. I also include inland areas like your Bathurst, Dubbo, don't touch them. Albury, don't touch them. They're terrible areas to buy. Reasons: little diversified industry. Often these areas are quite dependent on a few things. There's often only tradies that live there and often only government workers. That's all you'll get there. And for people that think, I don't know this, my family is from Lismore and the Northern Rivers, Lismore, Evans Head, Brunswick Heads, Ballina, Evans Head, they live around there. So I do know this. I have family that live in Coffs Harbour as well. I have family also that live further south. So I've got family that actually live in like Narooma as well. So I know people down there. Poor income demographics. So these areas, I'll give you a good example. Lismore, the average person, if you ask the average person in the pub what they earn like $50,000 and rent is like $500 a week. So they're spending more than 50% of their income just on rent. That is not a good thing for long-term investment. Furthermore, you got large supply issues. All of these areas pretty much have unlimited supply of land to build. So you're going to get new estates all the time. You're going to get more and more stock, and then it's going to be harder to sell. So I had a client recently who bought a property near Port Macquarie. I didn't buy it for him, but he spoke to me and wanted to sell it. We're wanting to buy probably a house in inner Melbourne and maybe one in inner Newcastle again soon, once he sells it. And he's barely had a single inquiry over about a month. If that was in Sydney, I don't care how overpriced it is, I guarantee you get at least 10 probably in a month period, at least, because people still show up and they want to know what's going on, and there's plenty of demand there all the time. So don't buy with areas with large supply issues. Finally, poor business demand. Don't buy areas with poor business demand, because if there's no businesses, there's no jobs, and that means there's no people that want to stay there long term, and they can't actually afford to pay more for property either. That's another issue. So no good in terms of that. Also, look, I don't want to have to say it, there's awful capital growth in these locations. So I've mentioned previously the central west of New South Wales, and these are the top 20 suburbs. So I know, you've got maybe 4 that have done okay over the long term, but I mean, that's probably a anomaly. That's probably your black swan in this, and it's probably not going to happen again longer term. What you want to see is this average to be like at least 7% or maybe even a little bit more, at least, at least high sixes to think it's going to gentrify, but it's not. The average here, if you add all the other suburbs together as well, is probably like 4.5 to 4.5% probably. So it's just awful areas to buy. So don't buy in these regional areas in New South Wales outside of the Sydney Basin region. They just don't work. Please do not buy there.